early pressure from Gideon. Gideon got that first kill, but Zeka still controlled the lane, had that incredible laning phase. It's probably my front runner for POM right now, just because of how many impactful shockwaves he set up combos with. You could go Delight as well, I think, but let's move into the second draft, because we're not going to talk about Yunara anymore.
Yeah,
I feel like we didn't learn
I'm happy about it, yeah.
I feel like we didn't learn that much. Like, everything we said leading into, like, okay, I don't think this is an angle where this could be picked for Nongshim, and they picked it, and then they got crushed, even though they had that one good team fight. Like, we kind of already saw what we expected to see, so maybe in the second series today we'll learn something more. Yone banned against Zeka in 2025.
And Zeus.
True, but mostly Zeka right now, I would say.
Mostly Zeka. You don't see it flex very often, but we did mention that this is the team that you kind of have to ban Yone against, and a lot of our teams have done it. Not everyone, and not always do Hanwha pick it either. I feel like they do have a lot of tools in their toolkit. They're not just a Yone-only team, obviously.
Calyx, his best champion is his Azir. His most played champion is his Azir. The most blindable, safest first pick right now for mid on blue side is Azir. So I think after this Pantheon ban, we will see the Azir banned by Hanwha Life Esports. I was going to say for RedForce here, it's a little bit more ambiguous what they want to take away. They do ultimately decide to take away the Trundle from Peanut after taking away his Vi. We have seen Peanut struggle a little bit on the Vi on recent BO5s, but still a very strong, potent pick they do not want to get over. It does leave Taliyah up if you do this, but like, I think you're happy to say no to Azir for Calyx instead. I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe they want to trade this, because that would give Zeka the opportunity to play the Taliyah into the Azir, but I like this choice more, as you guys can probably tell from how I led into this.
Yeah, and now it's really up to Calyx. Does he pick up the Taliyah, or does he look elsewhere? Thinking about the Ryze, and we have seen Ryze a decent amount more. Feels like he's very slowly crept up in Prio.
At the highest level, you can do so much with the Realm Warp in pro play. In coordinated pro play, you are just kind of insane if you have map control and basically cheat distance at any point in time. The Taliyah into Ryze feels okay, but it's more about how she can match side lane pressure, because the Ryze can Realm Warp to a side lane, and so Taliyah needs to be able to do the same, or show up to an objective, cut an objective in half. Like, some things Taliyah Wall can do that Ryze Realm Warp cannot. And that is going to be the option that Zeka goes for here. Jungle is a bit thinned out in terms of a lot of our picks here. So I'm curious, we've seen Maokai crop up a little bit more. If Peanut's looking in that direction, I don't think you necessarily want to show that one right now, though. Could look for a prio pick in the bottom lane. I feel like even grabbing something like an Alistar here, they feel like or a Nico, would be a pretty safe bet. And that's what they're going to opt for.
Yeah, and with the Nico, could be looking at a hefty amount of engage from her, obviously, but what are we going to see as her lane partner? What does Viper want to play? I mentioned the Kai'Sa before. I feel like it's difficult to just pick Kai'Sa Nico straight up and hope not to get pushed out by Kai'Sa's low range, but at least the Nico helps with that. Thinking about the Shen into the Nico.
So double global here. The Corki is really interesting. The Jhin, I'm okay with in this draft so far, but I think we're going to have to see what those final two picks are before we can really commit. It's going to be Sivir instead, which feels very safe. Like, you have wave clear control in the mid lane, you have a Ryze, and you have the global of that Shin, so you can kind of be where you want to be as Nongshim in the mid game as long as you're not massively far behind. They want to play the global game. A lot of the time, against a lot of AD carries, say this is a Kalista angle, even though Kalista has fallen off big time. But I think in this case, with the Sivir on the other side, it's just not worth it. They opt for the Kai'Sa instead that you were alluding to earlier. Not a great target for her to dive on just yet in this draft, though, to be honest.
Yeah. Still very strong. I mean, we have seen a lot of our AD carries really pop off on this pick. Even Hype had that big comeback against DNF on the side of Bro, and he had a insane Kai'Sa performance as they were coming back. And obviously, I feel like Viper's Kai'Sa doesn't need too much of an introduction, but
how deep?
Just know that he's insane.
How deep are we going to go, Valdez, on the jungle pool here? Poppy is now also gone with the already showing of the Shen that Kingen will never play in the top lane.
Peanut's taking off the jacket, so you know he's getting a little stressed.
I do think that Camille is a very smart ban, because yeah, Peanut's getting stressed, I can imagine. I don't think he'll play Shyvana though, so it's okay.
Please.
Camille is the strongest top laner in any scenario with a draft like this for Nongshim, so you know, like if it was Galio instead of Ryze, you'd be like, oh my god, it's a Giga Camille angle.
Yeah.
But see a ban on the Scion in return. There's no Trundle available, of course. This is where things are going to get weird. I think I'd rather save counter pick for Zeus and grab a jungle here for Peanut.
Yeah. J4 is popping up as just one of those picks into Sivir, especially because she's great at running around and being annoying, but if you just Cataclysm her, she can't avoid that, and then she can't run out of it, obviously. Doesn't have a lot of mobility outside of her speed, so seeing that a lot.
I do almost feel like you could still play Sejuani here with like a Jax. You know, there's a lot of picks that synergize really well with it, and it's decent into the Jarvan. I'm going to go for the Nocturne instead, it looks like here. So, I mean, how much more global can this comp really get? Galio top, blind.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
You definitely are going to have a hard time side laning into what Nongshim RedForce have, whatever you're playing, Zeus.
Or throw Ryze in the top lane, depending on matchup. You know, could be doable.
Could be.
Jace doesn't have a global.
No, but Shock Blast goes pretty far.
It does, yeah.
Not quite global, though.
Yeah, it's not that far.
There's a lot of different things you could do here as Hanwha Life. You could just play Cassante or Ornn and eat the Shock Blast. But you could have more fun and pick Malphite and play Malphite Nico Jarvan and say, Sivir, you only got one spell shield, good luck!
You know?
Yeah, they're just going to play Cassante.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Chronicler, Malphite's biggest fan.
Well, I mean, I guess when Nocturne turns the lights off, you can't really see where you're supposed to ult, and it's not really... Like, Cassante's like, oh no, I can't see, I guess I'll just still be tanky and walk towards
I'll just be OP anyway, so it's fine.
I do think that the draft for Nongshim is stronger. Yeah, I think it has a lot more synergy. It has tons of pressure with the Jace inside. You have Sivir's wave clear, and you can show up to fight anybody at any time. Like, if Hanwha Life Esports are rotating over with Nico Jarvan to try to get a pick on Jace, and Hanwha see that, they just ult the other side of the map and kill whoever's there and get the turret. So if played perfectly macro-wise, I think there's way more potential in Nongshim RedForce's comp. But will they play better? Put the nameplates on? Not so sure, but I think this is going to be a better game than Game 1, because I thought the Game 1 draft for Nongshim was incredibly risky. This one feels like it's not only a solid draft with good synergy, but it's a draft we've seen Nongshim play so many times. That's why Lahenza Shen was banned in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, like, I really like the Nongshim draft as well. It's so hard for me to take the nameplates off for this one. Like, it's just so hard. And there's some good nameplates on for the side of Nongshim too. Like, you got Lashen. I think he does incredibly on that, but that bottom duo for Hanwha Life Esports on those champions, I am scared for Nongshim. We'll see if they can handle it here in game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지
So, production is asking the real questions here, and he needs to know, is Malphite's fan or friend, or both? So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Wolf.
I think Chronicler may have somewhat of a parasocial relationship with Malphite.
Wow. Calling him out. Oh, love that taunt. Pulls him back in. Peanut is still going to flash and is still going to die, giving the first blood over to Kingen.
That is massive. That Jace to have a lead early into the Cassante is insane. He's going to be able to get back to lane as well. Super fast with boots. Oh, Zeus is still going to be tanky in Cassante, but Kingen's got a lot more agency now.
And it was nicely pointed out by Jonas Strong that Lahens had taunted over the wall and was going for this nice little wraparound. Gets behind him. Peanut has to flash before the taunt in order to have any chance of making it.
Yeah, he at level 1 can't flag drag out of that one, so
I like the response there. It's like, oh, everything went wrong. I'm going to sleep. It's like, I'm just taking a nap. No, it's over.
Just these things with Lehen's Shen, man. You feel pretty safe as a Jarvan to just go to your Raptors, but I don't know how to explain this, and I said it earlier, but it feels like a bait where you're like, there's no way Shen will be here. Like, there's no, I'm fine. Like, I'm Jarvan, I'm okay. No. Shen for Lehen's has been such a demon pick where we've even seen him like get solo kills in weird situations. Yeah. He is a master of this champion, knows its damage really well. Of course, is Igniteless now, but I mean, already making this early 2v2 look a lot better than I think most would say it should on paper.
Yeah, it's just the power of the Sivir. You know, the poke from the Nico doesn't do anything, and then you have the range advantage in a Viper. But if they
curse.
If they get on top of you, they're gonna have a good time. So no passive proc on its you at least, but I am curious as to how that happens.
I think it's just heal advantage for Delight, allows them to close the gap there because it's barrier for Geo. So the mobility that Delight gets gives them that extra speed. Because Lehen's went Ignite, obviously.
And just kind of run at them.
I think that's what happened. I don't know if we'll get a replay of it or not, but I can just obviously see Delight has his heal on cooldown, and I think they just stepped too far, too forward, and then, like, got him.
Yeah, got to be very careful. Still have a lot of damage. Nice trading here from the side of Calyx. And Phase Rush also comes out. So both of them just disengage, but Zeka not going to be happy about his current state of the lane.
Pretty frustrating as Talia. So we'll have this again. Heal. That's also kind of Lehen's lurking in the alcove there that kind of puts him too far forward.
Yeah, I think he was in like the most forward brush, and then they just ran at him, and he wasn't expecting that, and then they just kind of ran the Shen down, and he's melee, and yeah, eventually press heal, engage.
Ooh. Close to a stop on that back there from Viper. Has cleanse, of course, so probably wouldn't have led to a kill, but would have been pretty frustrating. He gets it off just the same. Kingen has shoes, and so he is kind of hurting the spacing opportunities for Zeus in this matchup.
Yeah. If this were solo queue, Zeus would have quit the game.
Oh, yeah.
Or just trolled. You know, maybe start taking the jungle camps, or...
He'd be pinging Peanut for two reasons. Because A, Peanut gave the first blood to Kingen, and B, because he needs Peanut to camp his lane. Because of...
Where's the jungler?
I guess I don't have a jungler. Jungle diff. I see an assist in that Gideon guy over there. I don't see anything on my jungler, and he was the one who caused this problem.
Yeah. I do wonder what goes through the heads of people who say stuff like that. It's just the solo queue mentality, I guess. But
everybody wants to win, and no one wants to take responsibility.
It is what it is.
I don't know if Zeus should take responsibility for his jungler dying, but, you know. Nobody wants to take responsibility about this.
Peanut's like, I'm very scared of this guy, and Gideon had a ward in the brush, which he placed, so he was able to smite that away. Being very aggressive on level 5 Nocturne, something you don't see all the time.
It's because of this prio, you know, in the lane here that Kingen has. He's got his tonic in hand. Well, likely in pocket, I suppose, but maybe in his vest.
Maybe he pulled it out, you know?
He's just showing it off.
I don't know if you can hold that giant, you know, what is it, Hextech hammer gun thing that Jace holds, while also holding a potion.
This is one of those Leshen's moments we were talking about, by the way. Like, this isn't going to be a solo kill, but Lens was definitely calculating the possibility of it being so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. If he could really hold both, though, I'm gonna say probably no. It's probably in his pocket or vest or something.
He is very strong. And maybe he could put the hammer down, but then, you know, you're not very mobile.
Imagine if he balances the tonic on the edge of the hammer, and when he swings, he just tosses the tonic into the air, and then after he's done fighting, it lands perfectly on his hammer, and he continues with his business.
He's got to throw it really far in the air. No stun here from Zeka. The rocks weren't on the ground, so he just knocks him back. Maybe it was cooldown, and he saw the angle while Peanut's coming through, but either way,
good flash timing.
Yeah, that he just flashes.
Phase rush is pretty strong, but the flash is really what saves him there. And slower early game now after that first kill, but the effects of that first blood can be felt in the top side of the map. The vision that's there, the pressure that was there on the top side, Zeus' deficit in CS. These things can really hurt how you play out the first few minutes of the game. Peanut is going to, with this later back here for Kingen and no TP, get a free dragon because of that gank, right? Like he ganks mid, Calyx has to flash him back, bottom side, Zeus is there faster, so Peanut is the winner of that. That's a big win here for Hanwha Esports. No one going to come over and even peek at this dragon.
Oh, you took a little peek with the ward.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, with their eyes. Like, no one's going to even, like, reach over them and be like, is there a possibility of this? No.
Yeah. Just going to let it go. We have another first Drake, Hextech Drake, which is kind of interesting. This time it's Cloud next instead of Infernal. Still ended up getting Mountain, which would have been pretty critical if we ever really got to the Drake fights in that first game. Kind of just ended on the Otacon pressure, and then the game was over. But yeah, pretty passive at this point. I like how Gideon's really trying to utilize his early lead.
Yeah, and he has level 6 now, so this is where things are really scary. Like, look at the setup with Calyx. Maybe you want to come up and stop me from clearing this ward. Maybe you want to come and protect Viper and Delight. What if there's a Nocturne in waiting? I respect that, Zeka will, but if anyone steps away from a turret, they can collapse on them. Yeah.
Were you responding to Sivir?
Yeah. Nice spell shield, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Dean's even taking the red.
I don't know if Peanut can be here.
He agrees, actually. So that's, yeah, he just flag dragged over the wall.
If that fear goes off, he's like not able to flag drag there.
Can he be here though? I don't know. And totally just disrespecting the potential vision. Peanut will get punished.
You know, Krugs are solid, but they're not quite a turret. And I think if you're outside of range of a turret and not Cassante, like I said, you know, he's going to press R, and you're going to die. And Peanut was very seen. He was observed. They knew where he was. And, like, you go check this because, like, there's a ward here, right? But even if there's not, I think someone, you know, will like, come over here and check this. Like, the Hens will just go over the wall because if he's not here, he's like backing. You're like, whoa, we just stopped his jungle tempo entirely. So I get it for Peanut. He's like, well, I got to get something here, but I think probably should have just taken the L on farm on that one because he loses even more as a result.
Oh, Smote at 6 health was the Scuttle Crab, and probably worth, honestly. Lehens definitely could have stole that.
Does kind of impact for a brief moment his ability to contest these grubs, but I don't think it'll matter too much. As just for a moment, we're watching Cassante get hit. And you know what? They actually decide to push up into the top side here and push out Viper using the Sivir Prio. Unfortunately, it's not fast enough to actually deny this grub take. Peanut does have that smite back up here, so he should be able to secure at least one. Actually, kind of a low-value play there from Nongshim.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're quite in the right spot. Now we got the root coming down and the Kaisa to join, and the Talia on top. Lehens, no flash, used it in the kill on the Peanut. And a nice setup here from Delight.
Without the Nocturne ultimate, I suppose they just really thought that taking that fight was going to be too risky straight up, so they wanted to kind of cheat it by pushing Sivir into the top lane and pushing Viper out, then returning, but they were just a little bit too slow, and Delight pulls the trigger super fast there and gets the punish. So there's no Shen ultimate. Like, look at this setup here. This is, of course, zoomed into while it's already over, while it's already too late here. Lens just kind of trying to see what he can see, and yeah, down he goes. But, like, they didn't have any control whatsoever. Nocturne back up.
Trying to get in there. Gonna get the flash out of Zeka. It's a win, technically.
See all the counter jungling, I should say. Invasion of the jungle here by Gideon. And he's taken a lot of the camps away from Peanut. And that top side control, you can see in particular from that Jace Prio was pretty huge. And now he's gotten 2 high-value ultimates. Again, unfortunately, didn't have it for that grub fight. Hanwha do pick up all 3. But they're running, you know, Cassante Talia in this comp, so I don't know how much side pressure they're going to get.
I guess he really did fail that. I thought he was just checking over the wall, but like accidentally pressed Q. But yeah, looks pretty silly, so he gives us the top of the morning, knows that he's being followed by the observer.
They do have a lot. Yeah, they do have a lot of vision on this bottom side. Calyx just walks it off. And I don't know if they can dive this, but they certainly want to try to make a play. And now with Lehens aggressively posturing, maybe I spoke too soon.
Yeah, Jiu might be in a bit of trouble here, and this is the thing about the Jarvan. You have to flash it if you're Sivir. He just presses R, and it's kind of like what we saw from Nocturne against Talia, but even more punishing. And now we've got a Sivir without sums with the Dragon up in 10 seconds and had to back as well to Jiu.
Yeah, Calix shows up with TP, but it's so late. He's just going to hard push bottom instead and try to get some plate value, it looks like here. As they are going to have to stick around if he's going to get those plates, because obviously HLE do have so many members here to defend. A lot of farm being lost in the mid lane during all of this. I think Nongshim, if they don't get the Dragon out of this, and they didn't actually get this plate either, it's not going to feel great on the play. But ultimately, we'll be able to take that Dragon. For now, Delight does have Flash ult, but there's no follow-up here. So they will get away with this. They will get the Dragon. I feel like that was a lot closer to a win for Hanwha Life Esports than needed to be outside of, obviously, the big win they got getting the Flash there for Jiu. Nongshim playing on the edge. Still trying to continue to do so here. They do not want to waste the fact that there was a TP here for this Rise and the nuclear he has. So like, we got to get anything we can in this jungle.
Yeah.
And I think it's a relatively safe play at this point with no Cataclysm for Peanut still.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It kind of just felt like HLE after that play. They just took the back foot and they said, we're not fighting for any real reason here. We want to go back. We want to buy our items. We want to reset. And
it is Chemtech Soul in this game, so I guess they're kind of rewarded by not taking the risk on that one.
Yeah. You know, I guess Ox was a little bit bored after game number 1, so he's just a little bit out of touch here for game 2. That's okay. We had Mountain Soul in the first one. It's not like that crazy streak we had of like 7 in a row.
Yeah, well, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. It was a streak of 1 at the moment. No Spell Shield there. Might be his doom, but the Mega Escape Disengage Cone is going to help him out.
Out he goes.
At least he was like kind of planning around that, you know?
Yeah.
So in that case, it's fine.
If he had no Blast Cone and didn't Spell Shield that shove, I think we all would have probably lost our minds a little bit. Pretty easy to Spell Shield that one, but holds it, gets out anyways. He's a Hex Plate user, so I'm not a big fan of that, but...
It feels like everyone is doing Hex Plate nowadays.
I know.
They go Stridebreaker.
I guess this is not really,
Hex.
like, this is not the comp you want a Stridebreaker into, to be fair.
Yeah. And, you know, why not both? Some of them are saying nowadays. We'll see what Gideon does go next.
This is the power of this side lane pressure with the Jace that's ahead with the Nocturne. Zeka's like, I don't want this turret to go down, but kind of need some help up here, as if I try to hold the turret, they have enough burst to just take me out. And with the Shojin variant that Kingen went for with this build, still incredibly powerful. You can see that response from Delight is being respected. Like, Gideon is very aware that he's pulling people to the top side of the map right now, and he's like, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to push the issue any further.
Yeah. Bit of a push in from Zeus. Has TP, but he's just walking instead.
Yeah.
Because of that push.
Alex has Realm Warp, but he's so far away, and the Herald now is under the control of Hanwha Life Esports, at least the zone around the pit. They have that Scuttle as well as some vision. And even though they wanted to get that pick on the Zeka, he just backed away. Now actually can TP back in to that top lane, gets it back for free, and Nongshim almost got something out of that extra pressure there, but weren't quite able to convert. And even with these backs going over for Hanwha Life Esports, they still don't get that Herald. The Rise is winning the side lane, obviously into the Cassante, so eventually they'll start to whittle down on that turret, but Hanwha Life Esports just sitting back and waiting for a better moment. Kind of like the position here, though, for Nongshim, because they can force fights on their terms right now. It's so hard to rotate in. Speaking of forcing fights...
Yeah, gonna get the taunt down. Peanut really doesn't want to use his abilities, so he's just gonna run over to his Raptors.
It's hard for Zeka to take the right engage angle here with his Weaver's Wall. It's a really challenging problem he's gonna have to try to solve here, and I don't know if that's quite it. We'll cut off some of the Nongshim members temporarily.
We had a TP coming in, HLE committing to this one. The taunt comes down and Peanut can't do anything. He just kind of dies as the engage is decent, but it's still looking good for Nongshim until Viper gets into that backline, assassinates 2, but now he's getting pretty low, and Nongshim, the rest of the team is just so healthy. Calix frontlining on this Rise. Maybe he gets punished by Zeus a little bit, but no, Zeus gonna get baited on in, and Gio untouched the entire fight. Will be able to help the double kill go the way of Kingen.
Looking like this one might be headed to 3 Valdez after that fight. A huge miscalculation, I think, on the side of Hanwha Life Esports of how that fight's gonna break out. The Weaver's Wall pulls the rest of Nongshim to the side, but they don't have any follow-up. Like, Peanut's on Raptors when this happens. Can't engage on anybody. It's a Shen at the front line, so they just kind of waited out here. Shock Blast gets a little bit of damage done. Maybe they were expecting that the Cassante is going to outpace this Rise, but the Romar comes through the ult here from Delight, also not hitting critical targets. Yes, Viper does get into the backline. They do get those 2 kills, but the carries here for Nongshim are untouched. The Rise and this Sivir just do so much damage, and Zeus loses Flash, thinks he can get this kill here, but Kian comes over to peel, and Gio ends up cleaning up. So it's a massive win here for the side of Nongshim around the objective, and fans are rewarded for their trust here. And, you know, again, the Taliyah, I don't want to blame Zeka too much for the wall angle, because it is really tricky. And if you mess it up, you ride in at the right angle, or the right angle for Nongshim, then they just kill you.
Yeah. No, it's very true. That did seem like HLE were a little bit split on if they wanted to even fight for that, especially because Peanut kind of got chunked a little bit earlier by the Shen and the Sivir. So they go for it, and ultimately it ends up being pretty good for Nongshim. As everybody grouping down on the bottom side, Nongshim TPing into this one, but the Cataclysm comes down and Kingan's just dead. And now we got a TP coming in here, but Calyx not able to do much, has to back away. Paranoia already used.
Yeah, that's not the side lane champion I'd be paranoiaing into.
He's just kind of running into the enemy team. He's going to go down. Could have ran south with Calyx. Instead, he decided not to.
Calyx also probably going to have a problem getting out here against this.
What did they mean by this, Wolf? I want you to break it down. There's no play-by-play here. It's just 3 people individually dying for Nongshim.
I mean, they're going to get maybe an inner on the commitment there from Hanwha. And Hanwha actually have no turrets this game, so you can see it taking a while to get that one. This is not going to be a back-breaking win for Hanwha, but definitely shrinks the deficit. Look, you have silent pressure, you have a Nocturne, you feel pretty good about, like, let's use that, you know? But it's better into a squishier champ. Oh, man.
Lehens.
Lehens, man, he was once a not-licensed haver, but he is, in fact, like, now going to be in the LCK F1.
Yeah.
But, like, Cassante... Yeah, we don't even need to show it. The Stinger is like, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Stinger actually didn't. Yeah, this is like, no, we're not allowed to see that again. No. All right, here we. Oh, no.
Yep. See.
Yeah, the Stinger.
Nice try, LCK. We're not going to watch that.
It's made a decision. Okay, please respect it.
Showmaker has hacked the mainframe, and he's like, we are not going to watch this a second time. Just see my copy pasta, and you'll know the rest. Because like you're trying to go onto a Cassante, and he's just going to be tanky enough to hold it. And then the turn was great there for Hanwha Life. Zeka obviously can Weaver's Wall in.
The TP came in, and it was like, I swear, even nowadays, I'm like, oh, he's got the TP, they're going to be there right away. And it took like 8 years for Calyx to actually show up. It was after Kingan had died that he even showed up, and Zeus had disengaged already. Yeah. And then Calyx is there, he's like, well, now what do I do, you know?
Yeah, when I TP back to lane, I usually go and heat up a coffee while I wait for it to go off. That's kind of my go-to. I don't know what you do.
I generally go feed the cats and, you know, get a water. Maybe I go outside for a little walk as well. Just,
make
like
a funny face at Bryce on your way back.
Yeah, of course, of course. Hang out with my son a little bit. I think that, you know, it's really good to get up out of your computer chair after playing games for a while. Even if you're going to continue playing games, you know. So stretch those legs when you're TPing to lane.
Yeah, sometimes
it'll be a while.
If I've got tier 2 boots, my team is pinging me to TP, and I'm like, well, I mean, come on, like, let's not waste it.
Just run there.
Gideon's in,
this keeps happening. Gideon just kind of getting caught out. We do have the Paranoia, but that's another kill going over to Viper, and he's looking for number 2. Not quite going to get it. Oh, now he's going in, gets the kill, flashes away, and immediately dies. Gideon is there for at least the alley-oop kill, but it looked cool.
If you're running the IG skin, I think you have to go for it. So.
Yeah, no, you have to. Spirit of Jackie Love.
Yeah, Jackie Love would have gone for it. Delight.
Yeah, okay, they're going for the engage, but this looks pretty good for Nongshim, although Cassante does exist. Trying to take down Zeka, and not quite able to, actually. They do get Delight, but that's just the support. Zeus does pick up a kill and effectively gets away, so a bit of a trade of kills there.
So if I was gone for a week, right? And I learned a lot from watching the LCK while I was away.
Yeah.
If I understand tempo vibes, I think Hanwha have it right now.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
I think Nongshim definitely do not have it. Even
they
though
had it, and then it was taken away.
Yeah. Like, the fact that Hanwha had a lack of control in this game, could do very little to come back, and then Nongshim gifted this over. Maybe they had it all along. Because in fights like this, it's just so broken up. Delight gets the full wraparound after an exchange in mid. Like, you got to be checking your corners, so to speak, you know? If you don't know where the support is, be careful. Because you already got the inner here. Like, what are you pushing for? And then Zeus is like, well, don't mind if I do get a free kill, because I'm very tanky. As you guys, I thought maybe I've learned in the bottom lane, but maybe perhaps we not learned the lesson the first time. Maybe the second time around on this 4-kill Cassante, Hanwha Esports will stay away.
Yeah, it's, the 4-kill Cassante, even on gold, just because Kane got, like, a free laning phase, got the first kill, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, like, Zeus is actually really strong right now. It's really good that you put that into context, Wolf. But also, there's the giant stripe of Viper, which he's really trying to utilize as well. This is what I was talking about. Like, these Kai'Sa players in the LCK just... they are insane, especially Viper, and the fact that he is so fed can become a bit of a problem. There are a lot of ways for Nongshim who do have a gold lead, which I feel like, the tempo vibes are actually a thing, where it's like Nongshim aren't really controlling the fights, even though they are ahead on gold.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit rough. Now, Delight does have his ultimate back up. This needs to be respected. And without side lane pressure, you can see the...
okay.
I mean...
didn't expect him to run that far forward.
Yeah, phase rush, sometimes you run forward. Usually you run back, but sometimes you run forward. Like, without really dominant vision control, it's hard to use your Roam. It's hard to use your Paranoia, right? Like, Hanwha don't have vision around this Otacon, like direct vision. Now they do, but like they had to fight for it. But because Nongshim didn't have Cryo on the top side, they're like, well, we don't really have an angle either. It's Hanwha Life to kind of slowly play around this Cassante and get that vision up anyways. You can see Calyx is like, I won't let you do that, and then Zeus just walks away. And so we reset. You really need to have a pressure point, like an anchor point for Gideon to ult to if you're going to take back control of this game as Nongshim. Because otherwise, like, Calyx is clearing wards, and Hanwha Life are like, well, I mean, maybe we just group for Dragon. You could see there was even a consideration of Viper of potentially soloing it on this Kai'Sa.
Nobody wants that Dragon.
They're going to Sivir push, and yeah, like you said, it is a Chemtech after all.
I mean, yeah. I'm even. I mean, if they do get the Chemtech soul point, then that is still going to feel very good. And it does look like, in fact, they will go for it in maybe a trade for Otacon.
Well, I mean, in this case, Zeka has TP, but I mean, Delight does not have Unsealed, and they are just simply going to give this up. The fear, I suppose, is if you try to collapse in mid to try to punish that Saber push, you probably get ulted on and you have a bad time because they were a little bit split there. I think that call from Gio and Nongshim was really good. That's the power of Sivir in these types of, neutral fights where you're fighting over vision. And Hanwha Life were on the right side of the map, so they couldn't say, well, we'll give up the push and then try to defend the Otacon. They kind of were like, well, we're already looking for a potential Drake take, and now we're kind of priced into it. I don't think TPing into that, the lack of vision they had would have worked out either because they would have been split. Peanut couldn't show up. So really good macro play here from Nongshim around the comp that they're running. I mean, we said this earlier in the draft, like, Nongshim are good at this style. They have kind of mastered it. It's part of what got them this ahead and got them into the Legend group in the first place is these Shen, Rise, Camille, oftentimes global compositions.
Yeah, no, it's great to see them going back to that comfort and playing a composition that they should have confidence with. Like if everything else is going wrong, just go back to what worked, I would say. So a good shout there to just pushing Calyx level 16 at the moment. Very far ahead of everyone else, including his lane opponent, Zeka, who did not build a Rod of Ages.
Yeah, and Zeka, I mean, it looks like they're going to just force this turret down for second of the game. I think there's no reason to try to hard all in on this, because guess what? There is, in fact, a Cassante here. Nongshim. I don't know about this one.
Were you revving your engines?
No, the Talia wasn't showing, so they didn't know where Zeka was, and he could have TP'd behind or something. But like, if they tried to play towards pushing the Talia, maybe look for a Baron. And in fact, because of these split backs here, there is kind of a timing.
Yeah, they're just going to go in on the Delight. I think he just dies. Very unfortunate for him there. Zeus also going to TP into this one. Giant Shock Blast going to hit Viper. The wall's coming in as Hanwha Life say, we are committed.
Go straight to Baron.
And Nongshim will take a big win after that mistake.
Yeah, it was really weird because of the timing of Zeka being desynced. They were like, we can't really fight them, but we can't back safely either. Nongshim play that so carefully, so slowly. We are going to have a contest. Peanut does have flash, and he is Jarvan.
There's no way they're going to take
They have to turn
3v5, right? That's the knockback, though. In they go. They burst down one, essentially, as the shield is huge, though, and in goes Viper, immediately going to cleanse, trying to do this 1v5. And eventually, Calyx just is going to take him down. That's the end of that. Zeka, though, doing a lot of damage. I think they still get the Baron here, though, as there you have it. Smoked down by Gideon, as HLE looking very desperate here.
You know, when we were at EWC, we talked to Finn, you know, quite a bit, Meteos, Peanut.
We didn't talk to Peanut too much.
We didn't talk to Peanut that much. He was unfortunately sent home early, but we were like, you know, what do you guys think about Hanwha? Because we had obviously our opinions about how fast and loose sometimes they play things, how sometimes disorganized they are in moments like this. And they're both just like, they're a little bit disrespectful, you know? Sometimes it feels like they're just gonna hands it, then they're okay with that. They're not gonna actually have the best legitimate setup ever. And in fights like this, you can kind of feel that. Hanwha Life Esports sometimes just think, no, our engage is good enough, we've got a big enough Cassante, we win these, the backs were split. But it's more fights like these where Viper's like, I have to carry this, they're being greedy, Peanut goes in. And, you know, they could have decided to try to look for a 50-50 and say, well, that's the best we can get. But instead, they try to, they basically call Nongshim out. They're like, no, they won't, they'll mess this up. And unfortunately for them, Nongshim didn't mess this up. And they ended up giving over some additional kills here as Baron is taken. So guess what? I mean, we're pushing inners. And Hanwha could have just looked for the Jarvan 50-50 because, you know, pit access is pretty good. But now they gave even more. Now it's a 4,000 gold lead again here for Nongshim.
Yeah. For some reason, it doesn't feel like Nongshim have broken open the game just yet. I think there are a lot of different reasons why. Like, that was obviously a really good fight from them, and they gained a lot from it, but it's not a gigantic gold lead. And also, Zeus feels comfortable, even without TP, to just, like, push the side lane against a Jace. Like, it doesn't feel like HLE are truly on the back foot yet.
Yeah, and if this was, like, Nongshim are on Soul Point, and it's a real Soul, you're like, well, I mean, they can just kite back and take that with the vision that they got and the map control, the prio they got from Baron. But Nongshim instead get, like, an inner and a second dragon, which happens to be a Chemtech dragon.
Yeah, it's just like a little gold inflection. So it's like a little, what do they call it, like a tax refund?
Yeah.
A little, like, economy stimulus, you know?
Stimulus check?
Stimulus package, there you go.
Stimulus package.
Yeah. Nongshim got a little, you know, stimulus package, and that's about it. They didn't get anything else.
Peanut signed every kill. I just want you guys to know this was from me. I'm 0-5 on this Jarvan. And I mean business.
I mean business.
They are going to get that dragon, as Hanwha Life Esports are going to try to wrap around and take a mid-outer in return. But remember, this is a global comp here for Nongshim, so Hanwha do push that mid turret and then decide it's too dangerous and leave it up and say, well, you can't get a mid in return because we don't have any of those. And the game continues. At this point, it's starting to feel like this game is just going to be one all of a sudden. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those team fights where Viper pops off, somebody overextends on Nongshim, or
like
Nongshim
last
slowly
game,
grind them out. Yeah. Except like much later in the game in this case.
Last game ended at about 29 minutes. It was like 29 minutes and 5 seconds-ish. We're already past that, and we don't see the end in sight. Nongshim obviously have a pretty nice lead at this point. Nice back.
I mean, there's
I wanted to say backflip. It's not a backflip. What is it? Seismic shove?
Seismic shove, yeah. Flip back.
It's a flip back. There we go. That's what my brain was trying to do.
It's a skill name flip back.
Yeah,
it is. Look, Viper's got a arm guard. Okay, I'm starting to, like, DNF has made me rethink.
Are you seeing the lines?
Yeah, like, DNF has started to make me rethink everything to where I'm like, okay, wait, how could it be possible? Like, how could Nongshim mess this up?
You're like when Neo sees the Matrix in front of him, and he realizes he's the one, you know?
Like, I think Viper's known he's the one for a while, but Peanut, maybe he's not the one yet.
Nice angle there from Calyx, though.
Good angle, gets around it. GA's picked up here for Gideon. But Viper has the 1,000 gold lead. He has some AP, so he can offer poke in objective fight setups. You know, when we have that next one, which will be 2 minutes or so when that Baron comes up. Actually completes the Zonias, in fact, as well, with all that extra money he has. Like, if he can get backline access, go golden, Zeus shows up, heals for him, Delight has a good engage. Like, Delight has Flash, Rocket Belt. This game is not over until it's over, and Hanwha Life definitely have an insane amount of tools to get back into this if Nongshim messes up. Now, if Nongshim play 4-1 around this Rise and Paranoia power, it's really hard for Hanwha to defend, but because they have this Cassante backbone, you can't just ult in willy-nilly. You just have to play through wave clear. Sivir Rise will win the game for you, even if you don't have Baron over time. Just don't make any mistakes in the interim.
Don't
make any mistakes in the interim!
He doesn't have his shield, and they're going to get away, just barely, but man, that's very scary. Barrier and flash used by 2 of the members of Nongshim.
I think without that Paranoia, they probably are likely going to collapse onto him, but when the lights get turned off, it's a little bit tricky as
Flash on in from Zeka, wanted to get the flip back onto the Jace. And not quite, he just burns his flash.
Yeah, not quite able to do it. The flashless Talia cannot be in a side lane to this composition. Probably can't be in a side lane with flash up, but the wave clear and the fact that Talia can't exist unless she's in a safe position just means that the map always is kind of blue for this game, and they were able to get that flash out. They got the mid turret. They did not, however, get the inhibitor. And Nongshim are down Paranoia as Baron spawns. It will come back up relatively soon, but this is a fight where this might be that moment where like the game ends all of a sudden, right? Because if Nongshim with the wave clear they have Baron and can just squat on it and walk towards the enemy nexus, eventually they just win the game, right? And so Hanwha need to show up for this, need to fight for this, but they don't have Prio, they don't have vision. There's a little bit of a ward to the left side of the pit that potentially Zeus could like flank TP to, but he's Cassante. Gio gets GA. He's not here though, so he needs to rush over as fast as he can because Hanwha are going to try to wrestle for Prio here. Weaver's Wall is so incredibly valuable in moments like this as well, to cut teams in half. Yeah.
Viper's beginning to do some real damage with that AP build.
If he gets into the backline onto Jiu, I mean, that's a win con here for Hanwha Life, 100%. Yep. Same with Calyx, who does have his Zonias, at least for his sake.
GA, very precious. But you can see that HLE, they're really trying to play the slow game here, not trying to overextend. They want to let Viper do the damage.
Okay, Zeka's calling. They're going to go clear that top wave. This is going to be a lot of prio here for the side of Nongshim. They can try to push this vision forward. Yeah. Not really gaining that much ground, though, frankly, with you, Valdez. Going to take a little bit more time, try to play through this Sivir.
The Chemtech Drake up in about 40 seconds. I do wonder if HLE think that getting Chemtech Soul is worth it. I personally don't think. In trade for the Baron, I should mention.
I think Zeus gets a ton of value out of the Soul in these scrappy fights where he's getting all the extra resistances, even the additional damage is going to be relevant. He's got a Jack Shows, so he is happy to have a Chemtech Soul, but otherwise the comp doesn't benefit that much from it. And
if they can get it without giving Baron, big, 2 thumbs up, that's amazing. But I just worry that if you're giving up all that pressure on Baron against the Sivir Rise that are both very fed.
Looks like Nongshim think the value of it's high enough to where they'll peel off Baron and at least try to force some poke here. Then they could run back or even Realm Warp back to the Baron, but they want to fight, it looks like. And Zeus is now isolated.
Yeah, just kind of priced into this one at this point. Nongshim have to go for it as everything is looking at the backline, but the smite comes in, and Calyx goes in by himself, but it's actually a genius move as it distracts them. Delight's gonna go down. Calyx in a bit of trouble here, perhaps, but he just blasts away. In go Viper and his top laner, doing a ton of damage here. Gideon goes down. Nobody can get on top of Viper until this very moment. Jiu might just be able to do it as Viper goes invisible, but it's not quite enough. And Zeus, even with the Chemtech Soul, is not going to survive at the very end.
That
Nongshim get a huge fight there.
That play from Calyx, that's, I can already see Chronicler and Twitch chat. It's like, it's little things like that. That's why they picked up Calyx, you know what I'm talking about? Because he has Sonia's, Seraph's, Rod of Ages, okay, even has the upgraded Merc Treads. He is so survivable, gets to go golden there, and that play actually baits them. They go in with Paranoia at the same time. It's so hard to pick off that Rise, and Hanwha Life get cut off by a Realm Warp flank as Delight looks to try to defend.
Yeah, just trying to clear the wave with that ult. Looks a little bit silly, but that's what they got to do. They're tanking up the turret. They don't have a wave. They're all super low. I don't know about this one, Nongshim. Oh, he was so close to losing his GA too. And now we got Zeka on the respawn, looking for anyone. Looks like he's gonna go to the top side here, but oh no, not the disengage cones. Gonna save them just barely.
They could have just gone for Baron, but they go for the end.
Maybe start Baron, not HLE.
Yeah, HLE definitely can, because Nongshim might have to back. They're so low. No TP on King and no Calyx TP, no Realm Warp. The Hanwha Esports don't have a ton of vision here. That the control ward is so frustrating, but now they can just bloom scry it, or scry bloom it rather, and go over and start taking this. I think the turn is really strong for them. They still have Cataclysm here. Zeus is just going to be able to hold the door. He's on the edge, and Hanwha Life with the turnaround.
Look at Calyx. He's running mid. He wants to Realm Warp. He's pinging it. He wants to Realm Warp in.
They only have 2 minions here.
I mean, if they get in there, you know, it's going to be huge. The rest of the team just trying to stop them from backing, and successful for now. The Realm Worm's coming in, and now TP's utilized. I think they might be a little bit too late, but let's see. The Cataclysm comes down. They just got to hit the Nexus, but the double stun comes in from Zeka, and the damage is not there for Nongshim. HLE clean it up, and they stop the gambit from Nongshim.
I just don't think this was the right call in any scenario. You lost, really, you messed up when you went for the end instead of the Baron, trying to stop those backs against Baron-empowered recalls of the comp here from Hanwha Life. This is just not going to work. They don't have ways to stop the TP. And, I mean, I get the idea behind this. If they had a huge wave, maybe. But instead, they just get stopped. And Hanwha Life Esports will win the game in the end off of some really questionable decision-making here from Nongshim.
It was so close to Wolf. The Nexus was like half health. Oh, man.
That's a tragic loss.
It's a couple of games in a row where I felt like Nongshim were in a very good spot, and they just couldn't get it done. And same goes Gideon. Might be able to take out the... Nope, he's not going to be able to. That's going to do it, guys. HLE, they get the victory from the jaws of defeat. Just at the very, very end, as Nongshim go for a very tight play. It nearly works out, but HLE are just that little bit better, and it gets them across the line in the 2-0 tonight.